Well, to federal politics now, the Prime Minister insists he has no concerns about a breakaway Queensland LNP party room forming. Let's take you live to our political reporter, Trudy McIntosh. Trudy, the Prime Minister might be convinced that won't happen, but look, we haven't seen some Nationals happy to rule it out today.
No, it's certainly not the case, Ash, and it's something that has been bubbling away for quite some time. You recall that under Malcolm Turnbull's leadership, there was this active option being talked about of a breakaway group, the Queensland LNP members sitting in their own party room. It's been revived after what Lou O'Brien did in the wake of the leadership contest in the National Party, saying that he won't be sitting with the Nationals and will be sitting as an LNP MP. Whilst the president of the party this morning was quick to try and downplay this, as you say, we have heard Nationals not ruling it out, that this is something that is a live option in terms of being talked about. Whether it will eventuate remains to be seen. Matt Canavan, the former Resources Minister, who we know quit the cabinet because of his support for Barnaby Joyce, he was asked today whether he could rule it out. He didn't rule it out, in fact, but it says he's not agitating himself to do it.
Could you rule out ever joining a standalone party room?
Look, I'll never rule out anything mainly because I mean ultimately that's my representation here is at least partly and mainly determined by the LNP. You know, I am an LNP senator. I get elected on an LNP ticket. I have a loyalty to the LNP as a party room. So of course, if the LNP itself in Queensland, which is not me, but if they decided to do something, I'd be in a very difficult position. But I wouldn't seek to join, and I've spoken to the LNP in the last few days. That's not on the cards.
The last 2 weeks of the parliamentary sitting has been overshadowed in terms of the Prime Minister's agenda by the infighting within the junior coalition partner. The Prime Minister was asked today about the prospect of this breakaway group, but it was certainly downplaying it.
What would you say to those considering forming a breakaway LNP party room, and why should Michael McCormack remain Nationals leader?
He has the full support of his colleagues. He has my full support as the Prime Minister.
So do you have absolute faith in Michael McCormack's ability to lead a united Nationals party?
Yes.
Within your own ranks, are you seriously worried that there might be a breakaway? It's just one of them is wrong.
No, I don't have those concerns.
Now, the Prime Minister might want to put to bed any speculation about Michael McCormack's future as Nationals leader, but it's not an issue that's going away. Just in the past half an hour, we heard on Sky News from National MP David Gillespie. He was put to him in the comments that he made in the party room to Michael McCormack, the accusation that he called him a liar during that party room meeting. He danced around that issue, but also, interestingly, he danced around the issue of whether he does support Michael McCormack and whether there will be this second challenge by Barnaby Joyce.
Over a certain matter, we had differences, but that is finished and those words were not used. I used a different turn of phrase, and I'm disappointed that people have even mentioned this thing outside our party room.
Do you expect Barnaby Joyce will have another crack at the leadership before too long? Would you like him to?
Look, that's crystal ball. At the moment, we are all committed to prosecuting the case.
You get the feeling it's been a long fortnight for Nationals MPs there in Canberra. Trudy, on the Labor side of things, Anthony Albanese is saying he has no concerns about these secret meetings that have been uncovered about this group of MPs who are keen on the concept of coal.
Yes, that was called the Otis Group. That's what they're calling themselves in reference to that Kingston restaurant where they had been meeting. But as our political editor reported last hour, they actually first met this grouping at Kokomo's, a less classy establishment in the city. But this group of up to 20 MPs, it was a secret meeting. Anthony Albanese only finding out about this after a journalist told him about it. The group, mainly of right-wing members of the Labor Party, including heavyweight Don Farrell, Kimberley Kitching and Joel Fitzgibbon, they've been pushing for a more pro-coal agenda within Labor, also making the case that more needs to be done to push back against the Greens. It's something that Anthony Albanese was asked about this morning. He says this is simply what happens in Canberra, that if you go around this city, many nights in sitting weeks, you see different groups of MPs. But there is more to this. There has been correspondence after their initial meeting expressing frustration, in particular about the Labor question time tactics. So it's not just simply about the dinner, but here was Anthony Albanese and then Scott Morrison.
Look, I suspect that people went out to dinner last night too, and they had dinner in a few restaurants. I did. That's what happens in Canberra. People go out, people chat, about ideas. There's nothing unusual about this.
Is there tension, though, within the party about coal miners versus climate change, for want of a better expression?
The Labor Party's united in our position that climate change is real, that we need to act on lowering our emissions.
The only breakaway I'm aware of is the Otis breakaway. I don't know if that's Milo and Otis, or it's just Otis, or how many others there are involved in this, but over more than 20 Labor MPs getting together. I don't think there's a lazy Susan at the Otis, but that tends to be the way things are done in the Labor Party. They go off to lunches, they make deals, and it seems that the Leader of the Opposition has a few things to explain when it comes to his last trip around a lazy Susan.
Now, Ash, you get the feeling that after a few messy weeks on his side, the Prime Minister is very keen to talk up some division on the Labor side.